Trudeau, the Liberals, and lies about our jet planes. I'm Brian Lilly with the Rebel.media. We desperately need new fighter jets for our Air Force. We've needed them for some time now. But Justin Trudeau and his Liberals, who helped fight against purchasing the right jets for our pilots and then campaigned on that issue in last year's election, just made a decision that doesn't equip our troops with the equipment they need. Instead, they have punted the ball downfield and won't make a real decision for another 5 years. It's why we're launching a petition demanding Trudeau's Liberals actually get the right equipment. It's at the website equipourtroops.com. But first, let me give you a little bit of background of what's going on here. Canada's CF-18 fighter jets entered into service in October 1982. I was just turning 11 years old. We should have new jets. We should be buying the F-35 by now, but unfortunately, the Harper Conservatives caved to an organized campaign, a campaign backed by peace activists that didn't want Canada to buy any fighter jets, backed by competitors to the F-35, and backed by the NDP, the Liberals, and most of the mainstream media. The Conservatives foolishly put off plans to buy new jets, bowing to this opposition pressure to study the jets some more. Now, with Trudeau in charge, we won't get new jets, or at least not the ones they need. He doesn't want a fully equipped Air Force, so instead of buying 65 F-35s, we're buying just 18 Super Hornets in what he calls a stopgap measure. Asked about this insanity in the House of Commons, well, see how Trudeau reacted.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister is making a political decision about what fighter jets to buy our pilots. Last time I checked, he's not an expert in fighter jets. He won't be flying them, and it won't be his life on the line. So instead of telling our fighter pilots what jets they're allowed to have, why doesn't he let them make the decision?
Honourable Prime Minister.
Actually, Mr. Speaker, after 10 years of completely botching the procurement process, I am pleased to announce today that we are going to be holding an open competition to replace Canada's aging fighter jet fleet. The fact is, the fact that they botched that procurement process means that we right now have a capability gap. We cannot fulfill our NORAD and NATO obligations. Canadians know we need to, and that's why we're moving ahead with an interim process to give Canadian forces the equipment that they deserve.
To him, this is not about getting our Air Force the right planes. This is about following a bureaucratic process for buying the planes. Bizarrely, this has been a regular refrain for the anti-fighter jet crowd, and somehow it's got traction, at least in official Ottawa, and the people that jaw on about this endlessly. The claim is there was never a fair and open competition to buy the F-35. Well, anyone making that claim, anyone telling you that, either doesn't know the full story or they're lying to you. The F-35 came out of something called the Joint Strike Fighter Program. It was a program that Canada joined in 1997. The idea was for a number of allied countries to join together to lower the cost in developing the next generation of fighter jet together. So a competition was held. Lockheed Martin won in 2001. Since then, the partners in the Joint Strike Fighter Program have been working hand in hand with Lockheed Martin to develop the F-35. Note that Canada joined this program under Jean Chrétien's Liberal government. The winning partner was announced under Jean Chrétien's Liberal government. This was not some conservative war machine scheme dreamt up by Stephen Harper. In fact, in the United States, this program started under Bill Clinton, carried on without any controversy under George W. Bush, and continued again without turning into a political football under Barack Obama. But in this country, the left has turned it into a political football. As a side note, why denounce the F-35 as a sole source contract and then turn around and give Boeing a sole source contract for 18 Super Hornets? When we got the CF-18s, we had more than 130 of them. We're down to about 80 now. The plan to replace with the F-35 saw us buying 65 planes. Now we're down to 18 new jets that are hardly new at all. The Super Hornet was launched in 1995. What we're witnessing is the shrinking of our Air Force. I've never been in the position to ask someone else to lay down their life the way Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is now. As Prime Minister, he can order our troops deployed into battle, send them to any hotspot in the world, and they will go. Our soldiers, our sailors, our pilots, they will go. They will lay their life on the line for this country. Don't you think they deserve the best equipment when we ask them to do that? If you do, then please sign our petition. It's at equipourtroops.com. If we're going to ask them to lay it on the line for us, then we owe it to them to give them the best equipment we can. I know that some would argue that's not the F-35. I would disagree. Time and time again, this plane outpaces the competition. Denmark studied it. They put the plane up against the Super Hornets, the Eurofighters, on cost. Yes, on cost, as well as reliability and combat performance, the F-35 won. The whole study was made public, and now the Danes are going to be buying the F-35, and they'll use them to patrol Greenland. I keep hearing the F-35 can't work in the cold, that a single engine won't work up there. Well, first of all, it's been tested in the cold. Secondly, the Danes, the Norwegians, the Americans, they all need planes that fly in the Arctic. And guess what? They're buying and trusting the F-35. The Americans have been flying the single-engine F-16 out of Alaska for years without any issues. All of these arguments are simply put forward by people that don't want to properly equip our troops, that don't want Canada buying fighter jets. I'm sure that's not your view, so I'm asking you to please sign the petition at equipourtroops.com. Show the Air Force you've got their backs. That's equipourtroops.com. Sign the petition, then share it on social media. If you like what you just saw, I'm going to ask you to do a couple of favors for us. Click subscribe to our YouTube channel right here. It's easy to do. And also share this video on social media. Spread the word that way. And if you really like what we're doing here at The Rebel, you can join an exclusive club. Head on over to therebel.media and become a member. Gain access to premium content only available to members.